Letting go is like trying to catch the wind. The harder you grip, the faster it slips through your fingers. It's a bit like staring at your phone, waiting for that elusive notification, only to realize the silence holds a message of its own. So welcome, traveler. Today's meditation will be so profound, even your to-do list will enter a relaxation state, contemplating its own existence. And it wouldn't be a great journey if it didn't get a little trippy, and maybe you may let go in ways previously unthinkable. But first, I have a little invitation for you. See, most people think that letting go is about releasing. Whoosh. Well, it's more about realizing you are holding a cactus. The cactus is what you believe your escape plan is to leave your current situation. And this escape plan is completely made up by your false self-identity. The only purpose is to keep you in endless self-doubt, comparing and procrastination away from your true potential. So if you are ready to drop the cactus, check out my brand new online course that teaches you a 7-minute morning practice to dissolve anxiety and have more motivation effortlessly. This is based on true understanding how your hidden anxiety really sabotages you in every way possible. And so if you are open-minded, we are simply going to destroy its plan. And the students who have been taking the course so far love this unique approach. And so we've just added a new feature where you can start with free lessons. And to see how first ignition can change your life and to view the free lessons, simply follow the link in the description of this video. So let's embark on a journey to a place of ultimate relaxation and profound insight. Close your eyes and take a deep breath and imagine that you are nothing. And since nothing is hard to imagine, let's just come close to it. Imagine that you are just a speck of dust, a tiny pollen particle hanging in the vastness of the sky. And feel yourself being gently lifted by the wings of the wind, soaring higher and higher until you find yourself amongst the clouds. And the cool, calming sensation of water vapor wraps around you, forming these delicate crystals. And so you are transforming into this unique, intricate snowflake, weightless and serene. And as you drift through the clouds, feel the freedom in every part of your being. And you don't need to relax because you don't have arms as a snowflake. You don't have any. So feel the tension of your everyday life melting away like ice thawing under the warm sun. And there is also no need to relax your shoulders because as a snowflake, you don't carry any burdens. Your back, which usually carries your stress, is now as light as a snowflake gliding effortlessly through the sky. There is no tension to release, no muscles to unwind. You are simply a delicate, floating crystal. Your chest and heart are free too. There is no need to soften your jaw or release any tension from your face, because as a snowflake, you simply don't have these. You are just a beautiful, intricate pattern, drifting without any effort. Your stomach, often tied with knots, doesn't exist in this form. Imagine it is just calm, snowy landscape, untouched and peaceful. You are weightless, floating like the snowflake, free from any physical form, floating effortlessly in the vast sky. And life is wonderful, and you marvel at your own beauty and admiring the other snowflakes around you. Because each one of you is unique, just like you, special. Together, you create a magnificent, shimmering dance in the sky. And then, far below, you notice the ocean. A moment of panic creeps in. What will happen if you fall into the ocean? Will you disappear? But as you drift down, you notice also an island in the distance, made of ice and covered in soft, inviting snow. And this becomes your new goal, your new safe haven. And so you try to will yourself to land on that island, thinking of all the ways you can get there. And you even see a bird flying by, and you try to negotiate a ride. You try to flirt with the wind, coaxing it to guide you to the island. And you strategize and try strategy after strategy, thinking you need to deserve to earn your place on that island. But between all your efforts, something profound happens. You hit the water, and you realize that this sweet disappearance is what you've been yearning for. In this seemingly hopeless chase, there is a hidden freedom. The reason you can't let go is because you've been trying. It's like attempting to fall asleep by sheer force of will. Ever notice how sleep sneaks up on you just when you stop trying to control it? Are you really the one deciding when and how sleep envelops you? Or does it come unbidden in its own mysterious timing? Imagine trusting that sleep will find you, not because you have any other choice, but because that's how the universe works. The same way you trust your heartbeat, unseen and uncommanded, to pulse through your veins. We spend our days in the labyrinth of thoughts, each worry a turn, each fear a dead end. If I don't get my 8 hours, I will be tired and grumpy and stressed tomorrow. But what if that sleepless night is the key to a door you didn't know existed? What if those tired eyes see the world a little differently, catching glimpses of ideas that only come in the twilight of exhaustion? Think about your social media feed, a curated gallery of highlights, each post a brush stroke in the painting of me. Yet, beneath the surface, there is a quiet desperation. Can I trust this connection? Can I trust myself? Trust, like sleep, can't be forced. It's too expensive for the fragile ego, too risky for the curated self. We hide behind our screens, crafting identities, yet fearing the raw, unfiltered truth. So peel back these digital layers, and what do you find? A raw existence, where the dance of life continues without the dancers. It's like standing on the edge of a vast landscape where the horizon stretches into infinity, and you realize you are both the observer and the observed. Without the fantasies, without the endless striving and trying, you're left with what is a present that needs no embellishment, a life unfolding with its own rhythm, where the self dissolves into the boundless dance of existence. And so, in a similar way, simply dissolve into that being that you truly are, and let yourself be breathed. Let yourself be carried. And not even that. Just feel the lightness of your being. What if you can't let go just because you're trying so hard? Trying to be the best you can be. Trying to be peaceful and calm and good person. Trying to change yourself, trying to improve yourself, just like the snowflake falling effortlessly. It was perfect and beautiful until it starts comparing itself into the others, which of course can never be done. Without that comparison, it is just pure perfection, pure beauty. And what is really beautiful about snowflakes is that they really start with a speck of nothing, a little particle of pollen or a dust. And the beauty that they become, it only comes from that fall, from that journey they go through as they are falling through the atmosphere. They're collecting those vapors and they start forming these crystals. And so there is a beauty in that journey. And who do you think you are, trying to middle with perfection? Other than a thought, other than an image in the mind, trying to desperately compare itself to another image. There is no winning. The mind is so creative, it can come up with infinite number of different comparison scenarios where we're keeping us constantly trying and striving, never arriving into the place of simply being good enough. It's always either being better than the others, and that makes us feel good and confident, or when we compare ourselves to another image, we don't feel good enough, or we don't feel we're doing enough. And so in this duality of the mind, of the images, of the fantasies that are so hidden that we don't notice, that they drive every decision beyond all of these fantasies and the universe of shoulds and shouldn'ts, the entire universe of assumptions. Without that, you're simply left with what is, dropping into the ocean effortlessly, and you can't change it even if you try. And you can't give up either, even if you try. That is the paradox. Yes, what we call giving up or acceptance only leads to resignation. And so you're left exactly here and now, and not even that. This is already the dream without an exit. The more you try, the deeper into the maze you going into. Looking for hopes, looking for some future promise that will make you feel better in the moment, which of course it's only based on a fantasy. On a fantasy so convincing that we can't help but believe it. And without that, without the believing, without the past and the future, all is left is just this now, which is not a moment in time. It is simply what is without time, without the stories that happen in the timeline, in the story that tells you what you need to do to survive. And that story is completely made up. It's completely made up. But nothing in it is random. It's all for one purpose only, to keep you in the maze. And so, without the story, without the images, and without the one that tries so hard to be better, to have more, to be more, to do something to deserve some better experience in the future. Without all that effort, there is just a drop in the ocean, and not even that. There is just the ocean, which is this. Beyond the fantasies, leaving you completely naked, is the tiny speck, a dust piece, particle of pollen, and not even that. And there is a hidden freedom in that. Just like the clouds are doing what they are doing. Just like the birds are flying the way they are. Just like everything in nature unfolds perfectly, except of the opinions we have about it. So is life unfolding. With nobody in particular, dissolving into the vastness of nothing in particular, into the mystery that cannot be described by words. And yet, the duality, the meaning, the words are so beautiful and unnecessary, because you need the words to be able to read in between the lines. It is the dance of the stories of me and you, and then not even that. Coming home to the wholeness, when nothing is missing, because there is nothing to compare to. This is simply beyond any comparison. Simply because there is nothing else. And so, let yourself be floated in that ocean, like a seaweed perhaps, that gives no resistance when it does. Let the current take you for this beautiful dance, a dance of existence that is only possible where there is me and you, where there is before and after. And when it's too much, when it hurts too much, there is always a way to jump out of this duality for your entertainment only. Jump out by recognizing the simplicity of what this is, not by an intellect which only compares to something else in the mind, but by recognizing the mystery that doesn't need any solving, that is whole and perfect. And there is nothing more intimate with no division, with no separation, simply because there is nothing else. So the seaweed, just floating in the current. And I love the word current. It seems so immediate. It describes this so well, with no preparation. Gently being moved, and not even that, not needing to understand that experience, and not needing to be anywhere else than exactly where you are. And not needing to be in any way different, fixed, changed, or improved than what you already are. And feel yourself being gently lifted by the wings of the wind, soaring higher and higher, until you find yourself amongst the clouds, and the cool, calming sensation of water vapor wraps around you, forming these delicate crystals. And so you are transforming into this unique, intricate snowflake, weightless and serene. And as you drift through the clouds, feel the freedom in every part of your being. And you don't need to relax, because you don't have arms as a snowflake. You don't have any. So feel the tension of your everyday life melting away, like ice thawing under the warm sun. And there is also no need to relax your shoulders, because just like the snowflake, you don't carry any burden falling effortlessly, which usually carries your stress. It is now as light and beautiful as a snowflake gliding effortlessly through the sky, until it starts comparing itself to release into the others. No muscles to unwind. You're simply a delicate floating can crystal. Never be done. Your chest and heart are free too. There is no need to soften your jaw or release any tension from without your face. That comparison, because as a snowflake, it is just pure perfection. You're just a pure, intricate beauty, drifting without any effort. And your stomach, what is really beautiful about snowflakes
doesn't exist in this form.
Is that
imagine it is just
they really start with a speck of nothing, a little particle of pollen or a dust.
You are weightless,
and the beauty,
like the snowflake,
that they become
free from any
it
physical
only comes from that fall, from that journey they go through. As they are falling through the atmosphere,
Life is wonderful.
they're collecting
at your own beauty
those vapors,
and admiring the other snowflakes.
and they start forming these crystals.
Because each
And so there is a beauty in that journey.
Special. Together, you
And
create a magnificent
who do you think you
shimmering
are?
dance in the sky.
Trying to
And then,
middle
far below,
with perfection.
notice the ocean.
Other
A moment of panic creeps in.
than a thought.
What will happen if you fall into the ocean? Will you
Other
disappear? But as you
than an
drift
image
down,
in the
you
mind,
notice also an island in the distance,
trying to desperately compare itself
covered in soft
to another
snow.
image.
And this becomes your new goal, your new
It
safe
is.
haven.
There is no winning.
So you try to will yourself to land on that island, thinking
mind
of all the ways
is so
you can
creative. It can come up with
and you
infinite
see
number of
flying
different
by.
comparison
You try to
scenarios
negotiate the ride. You try to flirt with the wind,
where we
coaxing it to guide you,
were
to the
keeping
island.
us constantly trying and striving,
Try strategy after
never
strategy,
arriving into the
thinking
place
you need to deserve
of
to
simply
earn
being
your
good
place
enough.
on that island. But
It's always
all your efforts,
either being better
profound
than the others,
efforts,
and that makes us feel good and confident. Or
then you realize
when we compare ourselves
that
to
this
another
sweet
image,
disappearance is what you've been yearning for.
we don't feel good enough,
In this
or we don't feel we're doing enough.
there is a hidden freedom. The reason you can't
And so
let
in
go
this duality
is
of the
because
mind,
you've been trying.
of the images, of the fantasies
It's like attempting
that
to
are so
force
hidden that we
by
don't
sheer
notice,
force of will.
that they drive every
Notice how
decision
sleep sneaks up on you just when you try,
beyond
just when you stop
all of these
trying to control
fantasies
it.
and the universe of shoulds and shouldn'ts,
The one deciding
the entire
when and how
universe
sleep
of
influences
assumptions.
Or does it come unbidden in its
Without
own
that,
mysterious timing?
You're simply left
Imagine
with what
trusting
is.
that sleep will find you,
dropping
because you
into
have
the
no
ocean
choice. But
effortlessly,
that's how the universe works.
and you can't change it even if you
You
try.
trust your heartbeat, unseen and uncommanded, to pulse through your veins.
And you can't give up either,
We spend our days in the labyrinth of thoughts.
even if you try.
Each worry, a turn.
That is the paradox.
Each fear, a dead end. If I don't get
Yes.
my 8 hours, I
What
will
we
be
call
tired,
giving up
grumpy, and
or
stressed
acceptance
tomorrow. But what if that
only
sleepless
leads to
night
resignation.
is the key to a door you didn't know existed? What if those tired eyes
And so you're
see
left
the world a little
exactly
differently, catching
here
glimpses of ideas
and now,
that only come in the twilight
and not even
of
that.
exhaustion? Think about your
This
social
is
media
already
feed, a curated
the dream
gallery of highlights
without
each post
an
a
exit.
brushstroke in the painting.
The more you try, the deeper
Yet
into the maze
beneath the surface, there is a quiet desperation.
going
Can I
into,
trust this connection? Can I trust myself? Trust,
looking for hopes,
like sleep, can't be forced.
looking
It's too
for
expensive for the
some
fragile ego
future promise
for the curated self
that will make you feel better in the moment,
screens, crafting identities,
which of course
fearing the raw, unfiltered truth.
it's only based on a fantasy.
Digital layers. And what do you find?
On a fantasy so convincing
Where the dance of life
that we can't help
without the dancers,
but believe it.
on the edge of a vast landscape where the horizon
And without that,
stretches into infinity.
without
And you
the
realize
believing,
both the observer
without
and the observed,
the past and the future,
without the fantasies, without
all is left
endless striving and trying.
is just this
You're left with what is a
now,
present
which is
needs
not
no embellishment,
a moment in time.
a life unfolding with its
It is
own
simply
rhythm, where the self
what is
dissolves into the boundless
without
dance
time,
of existence,
without the stories that happen
in a similar way,
in the timeline,
simply dissolve
in the story
that you
that
truly
tells you what you need to do to survive.
let yourself be breathed.
And that story is completely made up.
Let yourself
It's completely made up. But nothing in it is random. It's all for one purpose only, to keep you in the maze. And so, without the story, without the images,
what if you
and without the one
just because
that tries so hard to be better,
try to be
to have more,
you can be
to be more,
trying
to do something to deserve some better experience in the future,
and good,
without all that effort,
trying to
there is just a drop in the ocean,
trying to
and not even that.
just like
There is just
snowflake
the ocean,
falling effortlessly.
which is this,
It was perfect and beautiful.
beyond the fantasies,
Carrying itself into the others,
leaving you completely naked,
which of course can never
is
be
the
done.
tiny speck, a dust piece, particle of pollen,
Without
and not even that.
it is just pure perfection,
And there is a hidden freedom in that,
beauty,
just like
what is
the
really
clouds
beautiful about snowflakes.
are doing what they are doing,
They really start with a speck of nothing,
just like the birds
particle, pollen,
are flying the way they are,
and the beauty that they become.
just like everything in nature
Fall
unfolds perfectly,
as they are falling through
except of the opinions we have about it,
those vapors, and they start forming these crystals.
so is life
And so there is a beauty
unfolding.
journey. And who do you think you are?
With
Trying to
nobody in particular,
with perfection,
dissolving
other
into the vastness
thoughts,
of nothing in particular,
other than an image in the
into
mind,
the mystery
trying to
that cannot be described by words.
to another image,
And yet,
it is
the duality, the meaning, the words are so beautiful and unnecessary,
infinite number of different comparisons,
because you need the words to be able to read in between the lines.
keeping us constantly trying and striving.
It is the dance
never arriving into the place
of the stories
of simply being good enough.
of me and you,
It's always
and then
either
not even that.
than the others, and that makes us
Coming home
confident,
to the wholeness
or
when nothing
compare ourselves
is missing,
to another image.
because there is
We
nothing
don't feel good enough,
to compare to.
or we don't feel we're doing
This is simply beyond
duality
any comparison,
of the images,
simply
fantasies
because there is nothing else.
that we don't notice. That
And so
they drive every decision.
let yourself be floated in that ocean,
All of these fantasies,
like a seaweed
the
perhaps,
universe of shoulds and shouldn't,
that gives no resistance
assumptions.
when it does.
Without that,
Let
you're
the
simply
current take you
with what is
for this beautiful dance,
into the ocean.
a dance of existence
And you can't
that
change it
is
even if you try.
only possible where there is me and you,
You can't give up either,
where there is
even if you try.
before and after.
That is the paradox. Yes.
And when it's too much, when it hurts too much, there is always a way
It leads to resignation.
to jump out of this duality
And so you're left exactly
for your entertainment only.
and now, and not even
Jump out by recognizing
this
the simplicity of what
without
this
an exit.
is,
The more you try
not by an intellect
into the maze,
which only compares to something else in the mind, but by recognizing the mystery that doesn't need any solving,
what we call looking for
that is whole and perfect,
future promise, only leads to resignation. Make you feel better.
and there is nothing more intimate,
Which of course, so you're left
with no division,
exactly only here based
with
on
no
fantasy.
separation,
And
simply
not
because
even
there is
that
nothing
fantasy
else.
is so convincing. This is already that we can't help the dream.
So the seaweed,
an exit.
just floating in the current,
The deeper and without that into the maze.
and I love the word current.
The believing.
It seems so going into immediate.
The past and the future.
It describes this looking for hopes so well,
Is just this.
looking for, with no preparation, future promise
Which is not a moment.
that will make you feel better in the moment,
Gently. It is
being
simply
moved,
what is.
which of course
Even that without
it's only based on a fantasy,
to understand that experience
on a fantasy so convincing
in the timeline, and
that we can't help
to be in the
but
state
believe it.
that tells you exactly what you need to do.
And without that, without the believing, without the past and the future.
Nothing in it is random.
All is left
It's all for one
is just this
to keep you in the
now, which is not a moment in time.
And so, without
It is simply what is,
without the images,
without
and without the
time,
that tries
without the stories
to have
that happen
to be
in the timeline,
to do something to deserve some better
and the stories
experience in the future,
that tells you
without
what you need to do to survive.
there is just a drop in the
And that story is completely made up.
and not even that.
It's completely made up.
There
But
is
nothing in it is random.
just the ocean
It's all for one purpose only, to keep you in the maze.
beyond the fantasies,
And so, without
leaving
the
you
story,
completely naked,
without the images,
is the tiny
and without the one that tries so hard to be better,
particle
to have more, to be more,
and not
to do something to deserve some better experience in the future.
a hidden freedom in
Without all that effort, there is just a drop in the ocean,
the clouds
and not even that.
are doing what they are doing.
There is just like the birds are flying the way they are, which is this. Just like everything in nature
Beyond the fantasy
unfolds perfectly, leaving you completely naked of the opinions we have about it.
is the tiny speck,
A dust piece, so is particle of pollen unfolding, and not even that. And there is a hidden freedom in that. Nobody in particular, just like dissolving the clouds into the vastness, are doing what they are doing, of nothing in particular, just like the birds into the mystery, flying the way they are, that cannot be described by words, just like everything in nature unfolds perfectly. The duality, the meaning of the words we have about it are so beautiful. And unnecessary so is life unfolding, because you need the words to be able to read in between the lines. Nobody in particular. It is the dance, dissolving of the vastness of me and you, of nothing in particular, and then not even that, into the mystery, coming home that cannot be described by the wholeness, when nothing is missing. The duality, because there is no words to compare to, are so beautiful. This and unnecessary, simply beyond any comparison. You need the words simply because there is nothing to read in between the lines. And so it is the dance. Let yourself be floated of the stories in that ocean of me and you, like a seaweed perhaps. And then not even that gives no resistance when coming it does. Home to the wholeness. Let the current when nothing is missing for this beautiful dance, because there is nothing to compare to existence. This that is only possible beyond where there is any comparison, me and you, simply where there is nothing else before and after. And so let yourself be floated, and when it's too much in that ocean, when it hurts too much, like a seaweed, there is always a way to jump out. Gives no resistance when it does. This duality, let for your entertainment only take you. Jump out this beautiful dance by recognizing the simplicity, the dance of existence, of what this is. That is only possible by an intellect where there is me and you, which only compares to something else, whether in the mind before and after, by recognizing the mystery that doesn't need any solving. And when it's too much, that is when it hurts too perfect, there is always a way to jump out. There is nothing more intimate of this duality, with no division, for your entertainment, only separation. Simply because jump out by recognizing the simplicity of what the seaweed this is, just floating in the current, not by an intellect. And I love the word current, which only compares, it seems, to something else in the mind, immediate. But by recognizing the mystery, it describes this that doesn't need any solving. That is whole and perfect. And there is nothing more intimate being moved. And not even that, with no division, with no separation, understand that simply because there is nothing else. And not needing to be so the seaweed anywhere else, just floating in the current where you are. And I love the word current, and not needing, it seems so anyway different, immediate, fixed, changed, or improved. It describes this so well, with no preparation. Gently being moved, and not even that, not needing to understand that experience, and not needing to be anywhere else.